you think of painting, you don't really think of Minecraft, do you? Well, not for long. Today, I'm challenging myself to create 3 unique sets based off 3 of the most famous paintings of all time. And once we built it, it's going to be up to me to try and recreate that painting in Minecraft, all in 100 days. So grab your brushes and easels and let's roll. Okay, step 1. Tools. Naturally, the first thing we need to do is punch some trees so we can get some wood and make some wood tools. And now we have a wooden pickaxe, we can go ahead and grab ourselves some stone. And of course, we're gonna need somewhere to sleep and something to eat. So luckily, sheep takes care of both of those things for us. So we can put our meat onto smelt, making sure to save 3 of those blocks to make our bed. Perfect. Whilst we wait for that to smelt, I am just going to grab a little bit more wood just to take down into the caves with me, because we are just going to go ahead and grab some iron tools as quickly as possible. Okay, that is all sorted. Let's pick up our stuff and get ourselves down into the caves. So there are a couple patches of iron around, which is obviously really great, but I'm not seeing any coal just yet, which means we're not able to smelt this. I feel like we're on a really good track to just get enough iron for armor too, so that would be really cool. Still not seeing any. Oh, I am seeing some coal, but it's all the way up there, which I really don't want to have to get. Easy peasy. Oh, and there is some coal literally right here. Oh my goodness, and there's some iron under the coal. This is incredible. Ah, there's a hole. I'm seeing a little corner of iron over there, so let's go grab that, and I think we probably have enough for tools and armor. Ouch. Not you again. So let's go ahead and put all of our iron onto smelt. I'm pretty sure that's enough for iron tools and armor. Mills, what do you think? What is in your mouth? Hey, how do I get that off of her? Millie, what do you have? Painter's book. Oh my goodness, Mills. These are incredible. And you want me to paint these? Me? I don't know, Mills. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. I'm sure we could give it a good go though, but I might have to build some references first. As for the armor and tools, we are 1 short of making a sword, but that's honestly not the end of the world. So now we're all suited up, let's get some materials. I headed out to the mines to upgrade my tools, making sure to pick up calcite, iron, coal, and diorite along the way. I picked up some terracotta, dirt, various leaves, and flowers for dyes. I then searched for dark oak, spruce, sunflowers, and ferns. I looted a village for some hay bales and then headed home. Alright, so we have cleared a bunch of trees, and as much as I love sleeping al fresco, we do need a house. So let's get a frame and foundation started. Of course, starting with the foundation. Now, I am using calcite for the base of this build. I really did consider using quartz because I wanted it to feel really fancy, but then I did the math and realized I needed like 1,000 quartz ores or something like that. So obviously, I threw that idea out the window and searched for a geode instead. I will say the calcite is probably as close as we could get to quartz, and honestly, it might be even more blinding. Like, quartz is obviously bright, but it's kind of got like a creamy color to it, and this stuff is just like pure brilliant white. So with the shaders and whatnot, it is definitely a little bit bright. So I just need to finish off adding in the stairs on the front here and the 3rd layer of calcite along here, and then we should be good to get to work on our frame. Oops, almost forgot to mark out these things, so let's get that done real quick. That feels incorrect. So let's start with this middle section for our frame, and this is pretty much just going to be a big old box. So that is that 4 blocks? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then we're going to have to use our water bucket to get down because I feel like we're a little bit too high up for just jumping and breaking our ankles today. And then let's just hop over to the other side and do the same. And of course, we will join them up in the middle. And we have just enough time to jump down into that water before it disappears. So with that part done, where do I want to build this up from? I guess probably from here is the most logical place. So we have all 4 posts up. Now we just need to join them together. And I think by the time I've gone across and joined all of these, the sun will be pretty much down. So we will be sleeping outside again tonight, but that is absolutely fine. Okay, actually, we still have quite a bit of time, so let's get ourselves down safely and let's try and get at least one of these sides of frames done. Sides of the frame done, even, sorry. So the idea here is that we're gonna go for a sort of Dutch style house because 2 of the paintings in that little book that Millie found are Van Gogh paintings, so I feel like it only makes sense to channel him with this house. There with the frame, so I'm just going to put my bed down here for now, and just super quickly I'm going to do the same on the other side, and then we should be able to get to sleep super fast before anything too scary spawns in. And let's get ourselves to bed. Oh my goodness, that was incredibly close. Let me just deal with these guys real quick because I would hate for them to ruin a build that we are quite far into, actually. Well, not quite far into, but we are making great progress. So I've gone ahead and just added in some extra wood details around the edge here, but now it is time for the walls. So I'm kind of going with a light academia color palette here. You'll see what I mean in a second, but basically think light walls paired with spruce wood. Very cozy, very Pinteresty, and just that perfect mix of warmth and airiness. Eventually we'll get to adding little pops of green with leaves and plants and whatever else I can get my hands on. And I'm also gonna have to add in some bookshelves and some paintings inside. I just feel like light and dark, to be honest, academia aesthetics have this really timeless, slightly romantic energy to it, like the kind of place where you could curl up with a coffee and a notebook by a big window while it rains outside. And in a build like this, the light walls means it won't feel overwhelming despite the height of this build, but the spruce also will add enough depth and warmth that it's not just all flat and white and clinical. It's a great balance between elegance and comfort, which I think is perfect for making a space feel lived in and beautiful, and a perfect little painter's home because eventually we will be attempting to paint. Anyways, let's get these walls filled in and then we can take a little look at where we're at, and hopefully we get them all done so that tomorrow we can jump straight into working on the roof. Okay, so the aesthetic isn't quite there yet, but you'll see once we have the roof in place and a bunch of the details. But Millie over here knows my process and she's still judging me. You can't even build mills. Right, and where are your thumbs? Yep, that's exactly what I thought. But let's get to bed, and tomorrow this will be looking a lot better. So I'm gonna keep the roofs of this house symmetrical just to keep things simple, but I am trying out a slightly different roof style than usual. I wanted it to be a little bit more interesting than just throwing in a bunch of stairs and calling it a day, so I'm mixing in some barrels, some full blocks from the chipped mod, and eventually a bunch of smaller details like fence gates and trapdoors to add even more texture. I do predict that the middle part of the roof might end up looking a little too chunky and blocky, but you know me, there is nothing a few leaves can't fix. I feel like I've definitely gotten better at roofs over time too. Like, they used to be one of those things that I'd dread because I could never quite get the proportions right, or I'd misplace everything, or just frequently fall off. But now I might say that sometimes I look forward to figuring them out. It's kind of like a fun little puzzle, making sure everything fits the build, adds interest, and just doesn't look like a giant triangle slapped on top lazily. And as with most things, the more I practice, the better I get, and the more I realize that roofs can completely change the vibe of a build, and they're often the part that really ties everything together. That being said, I think the details of this build are gonna be what pulls it together to really meet that light academia aesthetic that we're going for. Alright, I would say we're looking pretty good, and I feel like there just isn't a roof out there that could rattle me now. It does of course help that the roof was pretty easy once we got past the stairs and the barrels part though. Oh, that sun is going down fast. Let's head to bed. Okay, now it's time for the exteriors. We're talking flower planters here and there, a few extra spruce details, some leaves, some lanterns, just all that good stuff to bring the place to life. We still have a few more steps to go, but we're getting so close to attempting our very first piece of art, and I am excited. I can't promise these paintings will be incredible, but fun fact, I was actually pretty good at art in school. In fact, it was one of only 2 subjects that I managed to get an A star in, or an A+, if that's what you call it where you're from. The other one, if you were wondering, was drama. Yes, that's right, I was a theatre kid, but not like musical theatre. I cannot sing to save my life, but I spent most of my time in drama class just screaming and crying and, well, being dramatic. Bottom line though, I think it's safe to say that I love being creative. I just hope I'm able to do something cute on these Minecraft canvases to prove it. We are already looking 100 times better, but we're missing a key ingredient, and that is, of course, leaves. So we're going to cover the bottom and the walls and the roof and anything I can get my hands on in leaves. Obviously, within reason. We don't want this entire thing covered. And just like that, the exterior is done and it looks incredible. Let's grab a quick nap and then we can decorate the inside so we don't have to sleep outside. And we can go retrieve all of our chests from the woods. I am gonna have to deal with this guy though, because it looks like he's about to be trouble. Alright, good night. Here's how the exterior is looking in the daytime, and again, it looks 1,000 times better than without the details. But now let's get ourselves inside so we can decorate, and we have quite a decent amount of room to work with. I feel like these rooms are going to be a little bit of a tight squeeze, and this one might feel a little bit weird because it's so tall, but we will figure it out. Alright, are you ready to see what I've done with the place? Coming through the front door, we immediately enter the living room and dining room, and I am so happy with how this turned out. I feel like it just looks like the perfect little painter's house. I of course added as many paintings as I could to the walls without making it look strange, but the idea here was to just kind of keep it cluttered but also cute. And this easel right here is the one we're going to be using to create our lovely paintings in a bit. This room is technically a little bit boring, but it is our storage room plus somewhere to keep all of our chipped mod crafting tables. I just realized I didn't put my actual crafting table in here, but I can fix that in a second. Perfect. And through these double doors here is our bedroom, and I wanted to go kind of colorful with this one just to sort of match the 2 paintings that I bought from the market. I wonder if they look a little bit familiar. Unfortunately, those are not my paintings, but I feel like I've done a pretty good job of keeping a tiny space cute. And if you're wondering, these are purely decorative. I cannot use these, but I just feel like they fit the vibe, obviously, because we are painters now. Oh, also I added in these beams at the top here so that it didn't look so scary and tall. Anyways, it is nighttime, so let's get the most relaxing sleep we've had yet. Very quickly, I'm just gonna add a farm to the side of the house so that we don't just starve to death at any point. Okay, so I'm British. Surprise! But being British, it's pretty much mandatory for me to enjoy Doctor Who, and my favorite episode in particular is one of Matt Smith's where the Doctor and Amy go to visit Van Gogh, and they bring him a ton of sunflowers. So the goal of this courtyard that I'm building right now is to kind of make it look like that scene. Alright, with all of the little gardens built, let's just fill in every single gap with some sunflowers. And I actually have a mod that I think is called rotating sunflowers so that they're not all facing the same way. That way this should look a little bit cuter. Oh. Now, as lovely as it looks to just have the sunflowers in the gardens, I have dug out a bunch of the ground so that we can do a little bit of a mix of coarse dirt and some rough dirt from the chipped mod just to mix up the floor a little bit. And I will be adding more sunflowers around the edges. Just before we go ahead and add in those extra sunflowers, I do want to do a little mix of leaves and whatnot just to kind of frame the area. And now we have all of those leaves and some ferns that I've bone mealed in. Let's cover the edges in some sunflowers. Okay guys, I'm actually feeling a little bit giddy about how this turned out because I absolutely love it and it looks so good. But we can't spend too much time standing up in this tree because the sun is going down and we need to go to bed so we can paint tomorrow. Okay, so now that the house is done and we have our sunflowers, let's set down our easel and let's get to painting. Now, the goal for our first painting is one inspired by Van Gogh's sunflowers, if you couldn't already guess. Unfortunately, this is Minecraft, so the amount of detail that I can add here is pretty limited, but we are not here to make an exact replica anyway, just something similar. We're going for inspiration, not straight up plagiarism, and it's also probably worth noting, despite mentioning that I was pretty good at art in school, in real life, my preferred medium is acrylic paint, not digital pixel art, so you may have to bear with me here. And also probably worth noting, I am not Van Gogh. Okay, here's how we're looking so far. This is the vase, and this is eventually going to be the sunflower, but I'm kind of struggling to figure out where I need to put the colors. So I feel like it may be best if we just sort of estimate like an area and then we can clean it up with the background like afterwards. So this right here is going to be the center of our sunflower, and I think I just need to fill in all of these gaps here and it should look pretty good. I feel like that works. And now we're back to the hard part of trying to figure out the petals. So I think what I'm going to do is just do all of this in the same color for now, and then we can go back in afterwards and add in the extra details. Okay, wait, this feels wrong because there is only a little gap here. I think we need to get rid of this whole bit and then replace it with a line out of here. 2, 3, which means this bit here is also out of line. Goodness, this is actually way more difficult than I thought it would be. So we're still on the stage where we're trying to just make the outline of this thing accurate. Then we're going to go in and add some extra details to the petals, and it should make it look a lot better than it does right now. Why did that not change? Okay, whatever. Okay, guys, I feel like I've got it. So let's just go ahead and fill in the rest of this background with yellow. Oh, and try not to cover up what we've already done here. And our first painting should be done. I've got a feeling though, because of color theory and all that other stuff, I may need to change some of the colors after I've added the background, but we should be fine. So I went ahead and lightened the background slightly and changed up the petal color just a little bit, and I feel like we've actually done a really good job for a first try. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put our easel inside so our painting doesn't get wet or anything like that, but I'm pretty proud of it. What do you think, Mills? Oh, she doesn't seem very impressed, but I am. I feel like I probably could have done with moving the vase over a block or two, but it's just an artistic choice is what I'm going to say that is. The fact that it's kind of going off of the canvas. But anyways, I completely forgot what I was going to say next. Oh, never mind. The cabinet was just cutting off the corner and I didn't realize, but I think it looks great and now Millie does too. Good. I headed underground in search of an ancient city for candles. On my way out, I picked up some copper, glowberries, stone, and diamonds to repair my tools. Then I headed towards the sea in search of prismarine. I topped off my woods and gathered silt and bamboo. Lastly, I repaired a ruined portal and set out into the nether for warped wood and soul lanterns. Okay, the next painting and kind of area that we have is not a Van Gogh, but a Monet. We are gonna be attempting to capture Monet's water lilies. So step 1, dig a big hole. Alright, that is the first layer of our pond dug out. Now I've got to do a second layer all the way around the edge, and then we'll dig down into the middle for our third layer. Alright, our pond is all dug out, but the sun is going down, so we're gonna have to head to bed, but we'll come back tomorrow in the morning and fill it all in with all of these mossy cobble variations. Oh, I just can't get over how cute this looks. And as promised, we're back and filling this thing in with our mossy cobble today, and I could have technically just left it as dirt and called it a day, but I feel like that would have looked so unfinished, and that's just not in my nature. I can be a little lazy with some builds sometimes, but I would never leave a build looking anything less than cute. So with all of the floor blocks down, I'm just gonna fill the entire top layer in with leaves because that's how we're gonna get the water filled in. It was actually one of you guys in my comments that taught me how to do this, but basically you put the leaves down on the top layer so that the whole thing is only 1 block deep. Then you go around the edge, add the water as usual, and then the entire thing should fill itself in, which means we can then shear away all of the leaves and it should fill everything in perfectly. So as I said, now the leaves are down, we can just add the water as usual, and hopefully this just goes according to plan and we have no issues. I mean, So far, so good. It looks like it's working exactly how it should. I don't know why I didn't think it would work, but I feel like I've tried a lot of methods of filling things in, and a lot of the times it doesn't go quite as planned, but this seems to be going fine. Whoa! Okay, that was a good one. Oh, I think that's just waterlogging the leaves. Oh, that was an absolute breeze. Oh, there's still a little bit to fix over here. But other than that, I think we're good. All right, perfect. And now just before the sun goes down, we have the lovely task of just shearing all of these leaves away. Perfect. The next day, I got to work on the pretty part of the build. Don't get me wrong, the pond is going to be so cute when we're done, but we're not quite at that fun part yet. If you couldn't already guess, I started building out some big old trees, aiming to make them look like willow trees by adding glowberries to the leaves later. The first one took me a little while, but I'm so used to making custom trees at this point that it still came together pretty quickly. Then, to save time, I added 2 smaller trees on either side of the big willow just to keep the area nice and visually balanced. I don't know what it is, but I always find things look way better in 3s. Okay, you cannot tell me that this doesn't look stunning. Oh my goodness, this might be the best set of trees I've ever built. Let's get ourselves to bed because we don't want to die right now to any mobs, and then tomorrow we can get to work on our bridge. Now obviously this wouldn't be inspired by Monet's water lilies if we did not have the iconic arch bridge, so let's get started with this and see where we end up. The bridge isn't going to be anything too crazy or detailed, but honestly I don't think it needs to be. Sometimes simple just works, especially when it ties everything together without stealing the show. Here's how we're looking so far. Of course, this is a little bit too simple, so I'm gonna add in some railings with our warped blocks. Okay, it feels like I've made a mistake here because I kind of wanted that to connect up nicely. Oh, I know what I've done. We need to bring these blocks out one this way, then we can bring this out this way. Oh wait, no. We're first gonna have to collect up the stairs because the stairs need to be in this spot. Just like this. Then we can put the extra slab in on this level. And then we can move these down one and everything should line up. Then let's just do the same thing on the other side. Then we should be good with our bridge. Nope, that is in the wrong place. And just like that, we are getting closer and closer to our reference. But now it's time to go grab some more resources. And then once we're back, we're gonna add in the water lilies. I headed underground to repair my shovel and picked up more iron, coal, moss, drip leaves, and deep slate. Once that was sorted, I picked up everything I needed for concrete, honeycomb, and silt. I topped off my dyes, snagged some bone meal, terracotta, lily pads, and sandstone. I set some sand on to smelt and grabbed more flowers. Okay, now we're back. Let's add what this painting is actually named after. The water lilies. Or, you know, as close as we can get in Minecraft. I have a bunch of lily pads here and only a couple of them have white flowers on them, but honestly, I think that's more than enough to capture the vibe of the painting. Okay, all of our lily pads are down, and I also altered this part of the bridge so that it looked more like a gradient. And also the sun is about to go down, but this didn't take me the entire day. I just started this like halfway through a day. Anyways, let's add some surrounding details. I'm just gonna plant a bunch of ferns around the place and make sure to bone meal them so that they become tall ferns. I'm also gonna add in a few pieces of bamboo and make sure to add in some strings so that they don't grow super duper tall. On top of that, I'm also gonna swim around under the pond if I can get under there. That is, and cover this in some seagrass. Then with even more of that stuff added all the way around the pond, we have the perfect little Monet recreation. So now it's time to head to bed because tomorrow we have got a long day of painting ahead of us. And I guess we should probably display this up on a wall somewhere. Perfect. Alright, now we have our set. Let's get to painting. So I've gone ahead and added a border, and this is the color palette that we're going to be trying to work from. So let's get started on a little tree area at the top. Okay, this isn't looking too great right now, but I think this is like the top of the tree area done. So now let's add in a little bit of detail with a darker green. Okay, I feel like that's starting to look a little bit better. Now we have more of an outline, and this isn't really true to the original, but I want to try and capture our glowberries. So I'm adding in a little bit of orange, and I'm going to be adding in a little bit of yellow too. I do feel like this might be a little bit too bright though. So with that done, I'm going to attempt the bridge, which should be the hardest part of this. Okay, I feel like that went really well and is honestly probably one of the easiest steps that I've done so far. So now let's just make this bridge a little bit more interesting. And with that part done, we can go ahead and add a third layer in a different color. And it is in fact nighttime. These things are taking me so long, but I'm just a little bit of a perfectionist. Oh my gosh, where is that coming from? All right, here is my solution so that we can paint through the night. So now that the bridge is done, we can go ahead and add in a little bit of background color, at least on the top half. And the background color is this like purpley brown color because I want it to look like the trunks of the tree. So now I'm just figuring out where we can put some extra green to kind of look like the area surrounding the whatchamacallit, the pond. I don't know, this is just getting more and more confusing as I go on, honestly. Okay, with all of that done, I'm gonna go ahead and just fill in this entire area here with our watercolor, and then we can add in the details of our water lilies. So for the water lilies, I think I can get away with just using a different tone of green and just leaving a couple little dots around the place, and then adding in a little dot of this pinky white for the flowers. And hopefully this will look kind of like a Monet. We can hope. Okay, so we're definitely pretty much done, but I was just thinking, I feel like the background color needs to be more of a blue tone so that it's all a little bit more cohesive, because at the moment the purpley color just isn't really giving what I want it to give. So I'm gonna change all of these to this color and hopefully that looks a little bit better. Okay, it is very clearly morning, but I feel like it was 100% worth it. That looks so good. And it literally looks so good with the whole area surrounding it. But I am going to pick up this whole thing and we're going to put it safely inside of our house. And to be honest, I am going to need the easel again. So let's put this up on this wall. Gorgeous. I'll be honest, I feel like I'm giving these guys a run for their money at the moment. Alright, so we did a Van Gogh, a Monet, and now we're gonna do another Van Gogh. And this one is gonna be based on probably one of my absolute favorite paintings of all time, Cafe at Night. And as always, we're starting with a foundation, and once that's done, we'll be moving onto the frame. So I'm gonna add in a couple extra details just right here for the entrance. And I'm gonna add in a couple blocks of wool just for texture because the terracotta, or the concrete, sorry, is super duper flat. I also added in some extra concrete right here to mark out the rooms, but now I just need to fill this whole thing in with our bamboo planks so that we can move on to the frame. To build up the frame, we're just gonna go up 6 blocks. And we're going to do that on each of the corners and then of course join it all up. And then once all these frame pieces are in, I'm going to go around and add in some extra details with our honey blocks and some yellow wool. So that's the frame of our first floor finish, and we're going to make our second floor in this purple terracotta. Actually, I think it's blue terracotta. It is light blue terracotta. What's that, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, it was just 4, but I do need to run along and add this all along the bottom anyway, so we'll just do that now. And with that, we have both of our frame pieces done. So for this build, I'm obviously basing the design on Cafe Terrace at Night, which if you know the painting, you'll know it's got that really striking yellow and blue color scheme. Now, realistically, those colors probably only look like that because of Van Gogh's technique and the way that the lighting is portrayed in the painting, but I kind of love the idea of just committing to it anyway. So instead of making it look like a normal cafe in daylight, I'm building it as close as possible to the painting's colors, as if we've stepped right into the painting itself. And I do want to know, I know that the top part is more purple than blue, but unfortunately it's the closest thing we've got to like a nice muted blue color. The only other option I think was like cyan terracotta, which is more of like a gray, which I'm not really into. on to the second floor, and I'm just going to follow the little markers that I've made here with these kinds of blocks and fill in the gaps with the normal light blue terracotta. On the front here, I'm going to do the same thing, but I am going to leave some gaps for windows. And just like that, all of our walls are done. And now it is roof time, and honestly, you can't really see the roof in the painting, so I am just making it up as I go. I worked through the night to get a roof on this thing, which I guess you could say means I was working on the cafe at night. So with our roof all done, let's get to work on our decking. So we're going to bring this bit out here by 4 blocks. Well, technically 5, but 4 blocks and 1 stair. Then we're just going to continue this all the way along in a checkerboard pattern. Turns out I'm going to have to get rid of these stairs because I have messed up the pattern a little bit. So let's try that again and put the redstone stairs on this block and then just do the alternating thing all the way across. Oh, no, wait. That is still wrong. There we go. Okay, let's fill in these remaining gaps and then we can get to work on the next thing. That is in the wrong place. So with the deck done, let's do our little awning and make this a terrace. Oh, okay, well that wasn't what I wanted to do. Let's start by doing this higher layer first and then we'll move on to just bringing everything down and sloping it. Oh, that is the wrong block. Okay, now with the stairs in place, we can get to work on adding the slabs. Completely forgot what they were called for a second. Then on the front, for just a little bit of extra detail and texture, we don't want to do that. We want to add in some of these trapdoors all the way along the front, and then we'll add a second layer underneath. And we are looking pretty good so far. With that all done, we're moving on to the exterior details, and I'm starting with some planters up top filled with blue flowers to tie in the theme, plus a few other little blue accents here and there, since of course our block is a little bit purpley. Then for the bottom floor, we have to have a bunch of tables and we have to have a bunch of chairs, because what's a cafe without somewhere to sit, sip, and people watch? And of course, the tables and chairs are in the reference, so we have to add them. With that, we are looking pretty close to the painting actually. I am gonna go and get myself to bed because I did hear some little skeleton movement. But tomorrow we're gonna head out for some more materials, and when we come back, we'll be doing the cafe interiors. Millie, are you good? You look stuck. Let me try and help you out of there. Get off of the couch. There we go. I headed underground for some diamonds to repair my tools, as well as iron and coal. I also collected a ton of stone, and once that was done, I picked up some spruce, birch, and bamboo. I topped off my wool and snagged a couple of flowers before heading home. So once I got back from our resource collection, I got right inside the cafe and started decorating. So let's show you what I came up with. It's honestly nothing too crazy, pretty much what you'd expect for the inside of a cafe, but I feel like it looks really, really cute. It's kind of just like an extension of the outside, but inside. But again, I think we did a pretty good job. I love these little tiny mugs. And I added some bread to our little display cases because unfortunately I don't have anything more interesting to put in them. Through here, I unfortunately haven't put anything because I truly didn't know what else to put in here other than just sort of adding in a bunch of tables and chairs. So this is actually just going to become a little extra storage area if and when I need it. And it looks like Millie likes the room because she keeps going in there. Oh, I think she's telling me to decorate, but Mills, I don't have enough materials. The good news is we're about to do another painting, so let's go grab our easel. So this is the palette that we're going to be working with, and honestly, I'm kind of regretting choosing this painting to recreate because it's just now hitting me how ridiculously tricky this is going to be in like a pixel art form. I feel like the chairs alone are going to be a little bit of a nightmare. There's just only so much detail that you can cram into a few pixels. But hey, we are committed, so we're gonna give it our best shot and just see how close we can get. I feel like we did a really, really good job with the water lily painting, so I'm kind of confident that we can do something really good here. I will say though, I kind of wish that there was a way to get like a grid on the canvas, because that way I'd be able to sort of track where I'm going a little bit better, because right now I'm just having to like feel out how many pixels across I'm moving at a time, and it's obviously a very slow process. So I'm just trying to block out the larger areas first, and then I'm going to attempt to go in and create the little terrace situation over on this side. But you're going to have to bear with me because this is just taking a lot longer than I expected. Actually, no, I did kind of expect this to take so long, but it's just really hard, like I said, to figure out where everything needs to go without like a grid to show me. I think once we get this main part of the floor finished though, it should be a little bit more straightforward. Let's bring this one out another block, then we'll go up, then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. I feel like that's far enough across. Let's do oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Let's add a little thing right here. Let's add another dot right here and another dot of this color right here. And this is meant to look like the people that are walking down the streets. Unfortunately, it's clearly not very detailed, but if you just bear with me, I'm sure it's gonna all come together at the end. It's just a little bit difficult to do. Okay, I spent some time marking out the dark areas, and it is dark outside too, so I am back inside our little dirt box, and apparently Millie is here too. This should make it a little bit easier though for me to just figure out where everything else needs to go, and this should get done a lot quicker, she says. All right, I confused myself with this little area here, but I have fixed it now, and now this should be a lot easier to do. So we're just gonna bring this kind of blue all the way up to the top here, or at least to there. Then we're going to use this kind of blue to go to here. Then we're just going to alternate between the two kinds of blue, and hopefully this should give the illusion of there being some buildings and a nice sky behind them. And of course, to make it look even more like buildings, we're going to add in some lights. Down here, we're going to add in some green and a little bit more yellow and orange so that we can again have some lights. Then we can go ahead and fill the rest of this in with our darker color to also add in a couple of white spots for stars. Okay, you know what? This is actually coming together really nicely. So now we've got to actually figure out the whole cafe situation. So I'm going to use this color to just do the outline along here, and I might add some white or black or just red or something to add in a little bit more of a deep tone here and there. But in general, I think this will be fine just to do the initial outline. And I'm just going to attempt to squeeze in some more dark patches. We'll do a little bit there. 1, 2, 3. Couple there, maybe one right here, and then we'll add in some of this tone to kind of hopefully look like tables when it's zoomed out. And I think if we use this like creamy white color, it will make those tables look a little bit more obvious, she says, as it doesn't look any different. Now around this window or door or something in the original, it has this like green outline around it, so I kind of want to try and recreate that with this little bit of green right here. And then I've added a couple spots over here to make it look a little less random. But now I'm going to go in with an orange tone to just fill in this kind of area right here. And I'm going to add a little bit extra across here. And I think I'm going to try and just fill this entire thing in with yellow and then see where we can add a little bit of tone. And hopefully this will come together super nicely. And from a distance, it will kind of look like cafe terrace at night. Okay guys, I think we may have done it. It's obviously not perfect, but I feel like it's pretty close. Oh wait, this is what looks strange. It's literally daytime and Millie has been sleeping the whole time. That's how long that painting took us. So let's just put our easel down in the corner and let's hang our third painting. I feel like it kind of needs to go on this wall, but we do already have this painting. However, I feel like mine is better. Okay, it's slightly off center, but you know what? I feel like that looks really good. Oh, actually? Okay, wait. I just want to make a little adjustment. I feel like this bit here is kind of interfering with the side of this and making it look like it's part of that and not what I want it to be. So let me just switch those out real quick. Let's add in maybe a little bit more of this blue. Okay, yeah. I think that's a little bit better. I think what I'm going to do though is pop this one down, put it over in the, oh, not that spot. Put it in this spot right here, and then we'll put this one in this spot right here. And that looks actually really good. What the heck? Anyways, while I was painting, I suddenly realized that I'm actually missing something kind of important from over here. The path out the front. Well, actually, it's not really a path. It's more like the scattered cobblestones outside of the deck area, but still, it's in the painting, so it feels pretty important to add. I do wish I had the time to also build all of the surrounding buildings as well, but alas, I do not. Anyways, let's finish getting all of this land dug out, and then of course we'll add all of our little cobblestone whatchamacallits, and then we can be done here. Okay, we are all dug out, so let's run around the entire edge and just add in some stone brick stairs. And I'm just gonna fill in this entire area with these small stone bricks, and then I'm gonna add in a couple gaps of cracked stone bricks. So I should probably fill in literally every hole because it's not going to be that many cracked bricks. And now that's done, we're looking a little more accurate to the painting. Who's up cobbling their stone right now? Because I just got finished. Get on my bricklaying level, you scurvy-ridden fools. Sorry, I really don't know why I just said that. Let's go to bed. I set out the next day armed with my shovel for gravel and dirt. After that, I picked up some dark oak, leaves, as well as some sunflowers before heading home. Okay, so now we need some paths to connect all of these builds, starting with the cafe. That means digging out a few holes first, but honestly, it shouldn't take me too long because the cafe is literally right there. On another note though, it's kind of wild to think how far we've come with the little painting project. Like, the first one was definitely a learning curve. Of course, it still looked really good, but I was just trying to figure out how to translate something so detailed into Minecraft blocks without it looking like total chaos. I would say the first one was definitely more inspired by, and then the others were not direct copies, but like more heavily following the original references. But it was just a case of once I got the hang of the painting mod and kind of creating stuff in pixels, each painting felt smoother, more natural, and just a lot more fun to make. And as you can tell, I clearly got very carried away into the night, through the night, and into the next days. Either way, it's actually really cool knowing that we're not just throwing random builds together, we're actually paying homage to some of the most iconic paintings in history. And dare I say, it's kind of like a little blend of art history and Minecraft creativity, which is not a sentence I thought I'd ever say, but here we are. Alright, that path is looking pretty good. Let's add in some fences and of course some leaves, and we'll be adding in some sunflowers, but I want to get the fences and the leaves out the way first just so I know what space we have left. Alright, that is the first path all done, just in time for the sun to go down so we can go take a nap. Oh, Mills, are you stuck? Come on, get out of there. Good girl, let's go to bed. Oh, I'm getting stuck on my own planters. Guys, I cannot get over these paintings still. I feel like I've done a really good job, and I do kind of feel like weird praising myself that much, but I'm genuinely so shocked that I managed to do that. Anyways, bedtime. So now we need to go from the cafe to the pond, and I did consider just doing a path from the pond to the house and leaving it at that, but I feel like it's way nicer to have everything linked up directly. It's just gonna make the whole area feel more complete and connected, like it's just one big cohesive space instead of a bunch of separate little builds. Plus, it makes it easier to walk around and admire all the different projects that we've done so far. Just like we did with the other pathway, I lined it with some leaves, some sunflowers, and some dark oak fences. Kind of surprising how far the path from the cafe to the pond is, because from the pond to the house, it's really not that far. My goodness, look how gorgeous that is. I cannot believe it. I built this, but I cannot believe it. What do you think, Mouse? She loves it too. Let's make our way back to the house through these few trees here. Let's head to bed because we do have to head out for some more materials in the morning. Although we should probably repair my shovel first because we do need some more dirt. Come on, Mills, get inside. She's such a menace sometimes. She's actually just pranking me right now. Millie, get in here. There we go. Okay, let's close the door so she can't go out. And let's get ourselves to bed. I topped off my dirt and my dark oak and spruce wood. I made sure to pick up some leaves and then I started hunting down azalea. Once that was done, I headed back underground to pick up iron and coal to craft lanterns. Okay, so of course our last little segment is the path from the pond to the house. So let's get it done. I won't spend too long talking here because honestly, it's the exact same process as the other two paths. We're just connecting the final dots so that everything flows together nicely. And with this little path in, the whole area is officially linked up, which leaves room for some final details. Well, actually, we've still got to do some lighting and I have something else to build, but let's just get these paths done and then we will do those. I love how I said I wasn't going to talk too much and then I talked too much. And with a little bit of futzing, our final path is complete, but we are still quite far from done. I spent the next couple of days adding various trees along the path just to give the whole area that extra little bit of picturesque charm. Naturally, I started with the trunks, then filled them in with plenty of leaves so that they felt nice and full. And I just feel like our other builds are pretty dramatic and imposing, so having some taller decorations like this will really help them feel much cozier and less like they're just eerily towering over all the dark oak trees in the area. There we go. Now the trees actually match the houses a little bit better. Oh, you can't really see this one. Let me just follow my pathway that I made. There's that tree, and then through here to... I'm going to go around this way because it is actually just quicker. But from there to the pond, there is this big old tree. But obviously we already have these gorgeous willow trees that we made, so we didn't really need a big tree here, but it definitely helps make it feel a little bit balanced because then there's at least one tree in each area. So you may have noticed the paths are like really dark, so let's get everything lit up perhaps, and then that way it won't be so dark anymore. Okay, the leaf in the middle was kind of a last minute decision, but I feel like I actually really like that. So let's go ahead and do that to all the other ones. I do have quite a lot of leaves left over, so I'm still going to continue to use them and just waste them a little bit because I can. But what did I do? I did the slab right here, then I did trapdoors on each side. I should probably get my shears so that I'm not wasting leaves, but I'm not going to need them for anything else. So that was how I did that. Then I did the signs hanging from here. Yeah, and then I just need to hang the lanterns from the signs, and this should look as cute as the first one. To be honest, probably a little bit cuter because I got the signs actually straight this time. Okay, that is the last of the lanterns done, and you can just see how dreamy it makes all of the pathways. Definitely an upgrade. I'm hoping that the light has made it so that no scary mobs are currently going to spawn, but I just heard a zombie, I think. But yeah, really happy with how all of those lanterns have turned out. Oh, I'm not even on the pathway. Very cute. Let's get to bed. So I'm just going to run around and do a final few details here and there, and then we only have one more thing to do. At least that one's stuck in the sunflowers. Where did the other one go? Oh, gosh, there it is. Ah! And I guess we should probably let this guy out so that he's not a problem for us in a second. Ah! I don't even want to turn around. I can't. That is a pretty dire situation that's just happened right there. And now I've got to fix it all. Anyways, back to adding those final details. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish adding my hay bales. Whew. And we're going to add in a bunch of barrels. So, Millie, whilst you're sat down and calm. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. But since you're sat down and calm, I want to take this opportunity to take everything that I've learned so far and try and paint you. What do you think about that? I'm kind of concerned with how still she's being. She's never like this. I guess she's just really ready for a close-up. Alright, so to create Millie, I want to start by just not doing that. But so to attempt to make Millie, I want to start by just creating a shape that kind of looks like her head. In theory, this should be pretty easy because Millie is technically already a pixel art, but where is my white? Oh, there it is. But unfortunately, I can't really do angles on this canvas, so it's gonna be kind of interesting to say the least. Oh, that is the wrong color. Okay, here's where we're at right now. Still not very Millie, but I feel like maybe adding this nose is gonna kind of get there. Hang on. So I think if we go down to a smaller brush, we can go ahead and add in maybe this color. No, wait, we want to go with the little nose color and just do a little line of that. So it looks like it's kind of overlapping this whole area here. Then we're going to want to go in with, okay, this is coming together. Bear with me. So I'm going to do a line of this all the way along the top. Then I'm going to go in with this lighter color with this, fill in a couple of the middle bits like this. Oh my gosh, I'm really getting the hang of this. Then we're going to go in with this color and do a little bit of darkness on either side. Then in this spot, we're going to go for, I think we need maybe like a mix of this and a mix of something like this. Yeah, okay, that looks like a good color. Let's do little bits of the ears like that. Then we need this color here to go around the ears. I think that might be the wrong one. Do we need this color? Oh no, it's just that that is set incorrectly. Then I really wish I had a smaller brush than this, but I'm gonna go around the edge of the ears with this color. And I think maybe if we do like this situation, we can slowly get it to like blend in more with the area around it, maybe? Or maybe not. Okay, let's just get rid of this extra line here. Let's do a little bit of a color situation there. Then let's just fill this in to about this level. Oops, with this color. And then use our little lightning tool thing to just add in a little bit of texture. That looks so good. So I'm gonna go in with this color under the face, and this is gonna be sort of like her body, but obviously we want it to look like it's underneath her, so it's gonna be slightly darker so that it looks like a shadow. Then I'm gonna go in with this color. Yep, that works. Fill that in just like that. Then I'm going to use this darker color to make it look a little bit more shadowed. Okay, so I think that's good for the body, and I'm just going to add in, two little lines like this, then one of the lighter versions. I think that's slightly different. Oh, that's not right. And this should look like her legs, but I feel like maybe I need to bring them up maybe a couple blocks just so it looks more normal. Okay, I think that's almost it, but I do need to make the middle of her ears a little bit darker and probably more like red toned. Let's try this color. Okay, let's try maybe this. Ooh, okay, no, that's too dark. Let's go lighter. Okay, I think this might be it. Now all that's left to do is to color in the background, and I feel like it's only fitting to have this as a blue background. Oh, and I'm just realizing I have the opacity thing on one of the lower ones, but honestly this might make for a more interesting background. Okay, or not, because I'm doing this in one single sweep. Should I go around and add like a little bit of this situation? Or do you think I should just go back over it like this and color the whole thing? I think I should probably color the whole thing, right? Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of ate that. That looks so good. Where am I gonna put it though? Should I just put it right here? Okay guys, I feel like that is now the perfect spot for our Millie painting, and I almost forgot to ask her what she thinks of it. What do you think, Mills? I know, it's so good, isn't it? Who would have thought? I started with this, then I got to this, then we did this, and finally our own piece of original art right here. Whew, after all that, I think it's time for a well-earned beverage. Roll the outro. Minecraft isn't really known for painting, but it is a game where you can create art. And if I do say so myself, I think we've done a pretty good job at making some today. My name is Em, this is Millie, and you have all been amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.